Freedom lives here in our great Sunshine State of Florida.
First at 5, Ron DeSantis beginning his second term as Florida's governor, ushering in a new era of Republican dominance unseen in state history. The governor calling the state under his watch a promised land of sanity and pledged to make Florida a beacon for freedom across the country. Good evening. I'm Tiffany Kenny.
And I'm Jade Jarvis. Thank you for joining us. Governor DeSantis will now work with lawmakers on the spring legislative session to carry out the governor's vision for the Sunshine State. Our co-anchor Todd McDermott is live at the Capitol in Tallahassee tonight with the messages from the governor's speech. Todd?
Jade, Tiffany, we were here 4 years ago, but this particular event was much bigger than 4 years ago. The event was bigger, the crowd was bigger. There were drones overhead, there was a military flyover, there was a brass band, there was a cannon salute. All the trappings of possibly higher office to come for Governor DeSantis, at least in his plans that he is not revealing. But he is now sworn in again as the 46th governor of the state of Florida. This is also, as you mentioned, a place he called a land of sanity, also a land of freedom, while also saying Florida is the place to where woke, as he calls it, goes to die. His speech was even shorter than it was 4 years ago, perhaps 15 minutes. He was sworn in about a half hour early. That inaugural address chock full of his perceived victories and promises of more fights to come, with rhetoric that reaches far beyond the state line.
When the world lost its mind, when common sense suddenly became an uncommon virtue, Florida was a refuge of sanity, a citadel of freedom for our fellow Americans and even for people around the world. In captaining the ship of state, we choose to navigate the boisterous sea of liberty rather than cower in the calm docks of despotism. We face attacks. We take hits, but we weather the storms. We stand our ground, and we do what's right.
Many watchwords coming in that speech, a signal to both Florida Republicans and Republicans, again, beyond the state line. In touting his record over the last 4 years, the governor talked about his fight against pandemic mandates and his new laws aimed at limiting the teaching of gender lessons in school, as well as limiting training on racism in job training, and also signaled some of what may come in the future. That might be more restrictions on abortion in the state, as well as loosening the laws regarding buying, owning, and carrying a gun in the state of Florida. And there may be many more policies unforeseen, much like the pandemic was unforeseen those 4 years ago when he took office. While never mentioning it, he did sound very much like a man who may be considering a run for higher office. That announcement would likely come sometime after the legislative session, perhaps in late spring. We have much more to come from Tallahassee. For now, I'm Todd McDermott, live at the state capitol. Let's go back to Jade and Tiffany.
Todd, thank you. Florida House Democrats slamming the governor's speech today, saying that he directed it only to GOP primary voters and wasn't speaking to the people. House Democratic leader Fentrice Driscoll of Tampa said in part, he speaks of freedom, but that's not what his track record shows. It only took him a few lines into his speech to begin rewriting the history of his COVID response. He claimed results matter, but Florida has had an unacceptable 83,000 deaths from the pandemic. He brags about our state's success without mentioning the record funding that came from the Biden administration to stabilize our economy.